Aldi and Lidl, being low-cost strategists, are really never going to do e-commerce successfully. So the nature of the product and the cheap cost base would dictate that e-commerce is not for them. It's physical store, physical product. However, they do digitally market, as do Primark, who digitally market a lot. They've got 2.4 million Facebook followers. But again, the value for money, low cost, price, focused nature of their products and their product offer would dictate that they're going to be ostensibly brick, and they've got a niche and a focus for that. Key points here to think about in terms of e-commerce, once one's looked at all the businesses that are involved, would be the market development that's happening here. Emphasising that product quality is going to be key in nearly all these cases. The speed of delivery is a core issue for all these firms, as is the consumer relationship. The increased bargaining power of the consumer is critical in understanding the move to e-commerce. And when one moves to e-commerce, it's really important that firms are trying to meet customer expectation and really fight quite hard for that customer sale. The operations function is critical because you have to get the operations right, software, technology-wise, right across the piece. Operations is heightened. All firms are trying this omni-channel approach. This is typified by Amazon moving into click to brick, Arcadia and Burberry, Tesco's, Domino's doing both, and then some of the other firms moving into digital marketing, which is not e-commerce. Important to make that distinction again, but does give you access to market right across the piece, and to get every access you possibly can to get that consumer sale. So the increased bargaining power of the consumer is critical, fundamental to understanding e-commerce and the growth of. Key industries to look at: fashion, supermarkets, cars to a lesser extent. A lot of the movement within the bullets is dependent on the nature of the industry and the firm performs within, the product, the objectives that the firm sets, and the strategies that they pursue. Okay, go. Buzz 4 research theme, e-commerce, an overview of e-commerce. The key objectives of any business getting involved in e-commerce would be suggested as follows. Any business gets involved in this area to improve profitability first and foremost, to grow, ostensibly by market development, to respond to the threat of new entrants, and quite critically, to sell more, to give the firm an access in what would be called omni-channeling, to sell more product across and through different media, or all media possible. There are a number of ways of looking at this whole theme, and that would involve the analysis of click, brick and click, or brick, or if you want to put it in a different way, e-tail and retail. If you look at the click firms initially, we consider a good analysis of Amazon as a diversifier as the world's most successful global e-commerce business, $89 billion revenue last year. They are, in essence, all e-commerce. However, they have made moves in late 2015 to move towards physical stores and actually have a relationship with Morrisons. So the future of Amazon could be in using Morrisons as a supplier, and this is only proposed, in moving into the supermarket industry, which would have a dramatic effect. Another key click or retail e-commerce only business, which is going to remain an e-commerce business only without a physical outlet, would be ASOS. ASOS are the 7th biggest global e-commerce entity in the world, and they're not going physical, and they're in the fashion industry. Other ones to look at that have also been, we've studied, are Uber, the taxi firms, and Netflix as a niche, smaller provider in downloadable movies. If we move into the middle, we look at brick and click. Many of these firms are traditionally brick by nature, they're retail by nature, and they've responded to move into e-commerce to respond to the threats of some of the e-commerce firms as new entrants to the market, these being the dominant businesses. Arcadia and Burberry in the fashion industry have responded really positively, with Arcadia being the biggest mover and shaker in terms of digital marketing in the fashion industry and social media. Burberry doing the same with their YouTube channels and their beauty and... So Arcadia and Burberry do a lot of digital marketing to attract consumers into store virtually to use e-commerce. Even though for Burberry the footfall has actually fallen, the converted sales in terms of revenue has increased as consumers go online, look at product, compare, browse, and then physically walk to store. So it has had a great deal of impact. Tesco do reckon that only 20% of their actual sales will ever be done by e-commerce. They're a bit of a first mover there in the supermarket industry. Currently their sales for e-commerce stand at 12%. It's a growing part of their business, but they do have brick and click. Domino's have had most impact on their operation here, and they have got a very successful application. 77% of their orders are online via the application. So a very successful business in terms of having brick and then moving to click to mop up market. Kind of halfway in the middle here, a bit of brick, bit of click would be Lush. Lush would reckon that only 7 to 8% of their overall sales would be e-commerce in the gift market, so they're mopping up that. But primarily customers would want to visit the store because of the century nature of the product, so they're only ever going to be e-commerce to a certain degree. In the brick part of this theme, Primark, Aldi Lidl and Jaguar Land Rover, for different reasons, are going to remain brick. Jaguar Land Rover have a digital marketing arm, i.e. you go online to book a test drive, but you're never going to buy an Evoque or a Freelander or a Jaguar car online. Aldi Lidl, again, their low-cost strategy and the nature of the product would dictate a contradiction in terms of being cost-effective to actually purchase